Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of
Boys, Booze, and Blood!
I'm Beto Lozano, aka Beto00.
And I'm Edward, aka Beloved Freak.
I'm George, aka Jug16X.
I'm Vel, aka Velfornia13.
And then we have a special guest today, our resident beautiful witch.
Hello everyone, my name is Shauna Leilani, aka Intuitive Shauna.
Nice.
Welcome.
Today we're talking about witches in the beyond.
Brujas.
Why did we decide to talk about witches again?
Because they're the best. And they're sexy.
They're fierce.
International Women's Day. They deserve their praise.
Mm-hmm.
And because I put a spell on you guys to make you guys talk about me.
Online
We're
spell.
We're all hers now.
We wanted Shauna here today because we wanted a first-hand description of what witchcraft is for us.
Wiccan and stuff, yeah.
Okay, so a lot of times when people hear witches, they think Wiccans, which I think is the more popular term for witch, but not every witch is a Wiccan. So Wicca is actually a religion which is relatively new. It's actually founded in the 50s, based off of ancient practices, but still officially the 50s. But basically, witchcraft does not have to be seen as a religion. It is just a way of life. It is a magical practice when you are at harmony with everything around you in nature, and understanding the energies that they produce and that they have, and learning how to work with them in sync to just make your life more existing in harmony, so to speak. So there's a lot of different types of witches. It does tie into religion sometimes. It doesn't have to. I swear to God, not most of us eat babies. I'm vegetarian personally. But the one thing that I tell everybody is that you can put 10 witches in a room, ask us one question, I promise you will have 15 different answers. Yeah. So there's no right or wrong way to do it, which is part of the appeal.
Nice. Okay. And what is what you do?
So I am a strega, which means I practice Italian witchcraft.
Ooh, yes.
A lot of it includes yelling at my spirits. But my specialty, I'm very folky, so I'm all about folk magic. So folk magic is really using the resources of what is around you, and what is in abundance around you to kind of get things going. So I do a lot of candle magic, I do a lot of herbal work, a lot of mojo bags, I work with crystals. So it just kind of just depends on what my need is and what I have around me at the time. I'm also really lazy, so that might tie into it too.
How did you get into it?
I was just always drawn to it. So I started having weird psychic things happen to me as a really young kid. And my family luckily was cool enough that they're like, okay, you're different. Go ahead and be that way. I started reading tarot when I was 8. My mom's best friend read my cards as much as you could for a child. And so I just decided that I absolutely must learn how to do this and just did my own. And then from there, I bought little spell books and I would try and practice those things. Funny enough, I actually found the very first spell I ever did. It was dated and everything. It was 2001. And then when I was about 19 or so, I started formally, traditionally studying Wicca. And then from there, I just kind of broadened it and started dabbling in a lot of different magical systems and stuff like that before I arrived at Strega.
What is Oh, the
Italian. The Italian witchcraft.
I thought it was a place, so sorry. What do we like about witches, guys?
What do you like?
The mysticism, maybe. I like in movies, I was always drawn to the mysteriousness and the movies portray them as evil entities, but also it's I think it's also the power. You know how you guys were saying that it's very much a feminist ideal, because I feel when it comes to genders, women have a lot more power and strength than men. Mm-hmm. Yeah. In the sense that, when that anger and, rage is put forth, okay, remember the Rage Carrie 2? Yeah. I feel that was a witch movie. Yeah. It wasn't very much her telekinesis, it's just, the title said it all, the Rage. Yeah. It's she kind of just willfully made things happen, it's that intention was there. And, crazy shit happened. So, I don't know, it's a power thing. It's it's very much an individual, strength.
I agree. I think witches, to me, have always been about being true to yourself and being able to acknowledge that there is a power within yourself, and you're able to create things, and you're able to go forth in the world and be someone who, you know, hold your head high, you do all this stuff, and you are able to go above and beyond.
Yeah.
And that's always been just like my idea of a witch, is the strong girl. She's the feminist. She's the, you know, the female lead of something. And a lot of that goes to the craft. And you know, like in Scooby-Doo, like the what are the Hex Girls. I thought they were such a cool part of the thing because they were witches and they had this cool persona about them because they were secure of who they were.
I don't remember the Hex Girl.
What? The
I need to
Hex
Google
Girls?
that.
Oh. It was in the movie.
In the
The
Scooby-Doo
Scooby-Doo
movie?
movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Eddie?
And for me, one thing I know about witches, the covens, I believe in the sisterhood. Trust, loyalty, be there for each other. Another thing with witches, I feel like a lot of them are misunderstood. A lot of things are evil or whatever. But I think they bring a lot of beauty into the world. They believe in nature, and I'm very much a spiritualist. I'm not really religious, so when I think of like witches and Wiccans and paganism and all this stuff, I relate to them a little bit more, and I respect them a little bit more. So that's what draw me more to witches, and I've always had a thing for them, and I never realized it growing up until I love Ursula, first witch when I was a kid. I love Hocus Pocus. I love Wizard of Oz. I love The Craft, Blair Witch. I love everything that has to do with witches, good or bad or whatever. I just love them. I love them as characters. I love that they have abilities and they have. I like the idea of magic. Willow. I love Willow.
Yes.
Buffy. Like, there's just something I relate to them and I love and adore them. And even real witches and stuff that I just gravitate to them. I love visiting the stores. I love getting incense. I love getting candles. I love getting like herbs and things like that. It just makes me feel very calm and relaxed.
Okay.
So I just feel like I relate to witches a lot.
So you're a witch.
You basically enjoy living the witch life.
Yeah, like that's why I love my style. Like I like witchy goth, even the music and stuff. I love dancing to it, and I love being friends with people like that. And I think they're a lot about love, and that's one thing I relate to them a lot the most.
I love, you guys know how I like a strong female, aka bad bitch. And witches are just the epitome of that. And just add on the nature thing, because I'm a hidden secret. I'm very into nature, you guys. And I like the nature, but I do actually. I had a lot of birds growing up. Actually, I'm not kidding.
I love that.
But I like a bad bitch. I like the nature aspect of it. I like the sisterhood of it. I like the sensuality of it. I like the confidence. I always thought I was a witch. So basically,
They exude just this power as a woman, and for me, in acting, I always tend to draw more to women when I'm watching a performance or I'm observing a performance, because women bring such a vulnerability and this different way to view the character that's, I can't explain it. But, like, I can watch a million guys act, and I can watch them do their stuff and everything like that, but it doesn't resonate. But when I watch a woman, there's a power, and there's an energy that's so different, and it's so connected.
Better.
Yeah. And that's what I feel with witches. They're so connected with the universe and the world, and with just people, that I think, I don't know. That's why they've always been such a special.
Shauna, what are...
We're awesome, that's why.
Yeah, okay. What are your favorite movie witches?
My favorite movie witches, the Sanderson sisters.
Hands
down.
But you have to tell us why. And who's your favorite one?
Winifred. Hello. She's just a fucking boss ass bitch. I'm all about that. I like them because they had all these different dynamics, like the personality dynamics, and that they all had their own strengths. Yeah. Which I thought was really interesting, like how Sarah could like lure the children with her voice and like basically like her kind of like sensuality, kind of an attraction. And Winifred was just the boss of everyone, and she was really the one that just had all the power and the decision making. Yeah. and then Mary was the one she could smell him. You
Yes.
know, and I thought that
Loyal
was really
dog.
cool.
A
Yeah,
very loyal
for
dog.
sure. And I think that's really cool because when you get a group of witches together, you'll notice that they all do have different strengths, and so I thought that was kind of like this interesting little thing, and it was celebrating just the diversity of power that everybody has, because everyone does have different strengths. So I think that she's probably one of my favorites, but my favorite is Jessica Lange as the Supreme. I actually blended a fragrance called Supreme.
Ooh.
That the little catchphrase for it is "Give me what I want, or I'll burn your house down."
Nice.
I like that.
I
That's
love it.
such a
Love
bad
it.
bitch tagline. Like a
That's-
Real Housewife tagline.
Don't make me drop a house on you. But
It's a
I
sexy
mean,
house.
I just because she was just fucking business. She knew what she wanted, and that's what it was all about. And I kind of like that because I kind of feel like, I mean, like the personal gain from spells and everything like that in witchcraft, that's very secondary, really. It's all about getting together to celebrate the god and goddess, to celebrate nature and the universe around you and your connection to it, and having that fluidity. So that's absolutely the first part of it. And I think that's the part that everyone forgets, especially from watching movies and everything else, is we just see like the gain and the potential with it, that we forget what it's really about. But it's just like the power that she had and that confidence and empowerment. Like I'm like, yep, I'm all about that.
Yes. What do we think about Jessica Lange?
I mean, Coven is my favorite season of American Horror Story, and I will not watch any other season. I refuse to, because Jessica Lange was so perfect in the role that she was.
That season was so
doing.
divisive with fans, though. It's like a love it or hate it kind of season.
It really
and I don't
is.
really get it
You know
because
what? I
it was
hated
really
it
entertaining.
when I first
Really?
watched it, and then I rewatched it, and I'm like, you know what? I like this. I don't know what my hold up was about it. Yeah.
I think it's the most entertaining out of all the
It is.
seasons.
Yeah, watching it, the first time watching it, I remember I was like, okay, this is cool. Like, they have a lot of great concepts. Some of them don't go anywhere. Like, blah, blah. I recently just rewatched it, and I honestly, I'm just like, wow, I fucking love everything about it, because I love who these characters are.
Yeah.
They go places. Yes, certain shit doesn't work out, and certain things are brought in and brought out and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but that's part of life.
Yeah.
And, you know,
That's
you're-
part of Ryan Murphy.
and that's part of, I mean, that's Ryan
Murphy.
Murphy, but you're given such a different array of strong women.
Yeah,
And they're
that's why I
all
loved it.
there, and they're all, like, either to help each other or, you know, fight, whatever. But they all come at the end together in a certain way to be strong and to be empowered with one another. And I kind of wish that was sort of the entire season, because they had, like, the 7 Wonders.
Yeah.
That was the last episode where they do, like, the 7 Wonder, whatever it is. Tests,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? I wish that was part of the
That
entire
was pretty
season.
cool, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that would have been really
More
cool.
witches,
Like a
maybe.
build-up.
More and more stuff like that. But yeah, I think the fucking season was great. Jessica Lange is amazing. She gives the best performance.
Yeah. She is the Supreme.
The cool thing about that, and really, American Horror Story does a lot of their research in little ways. Like, they give, like, different nods to things. But since that one was based in Louisiana, the cool thing is that it was all, like, actual Louisiana and New Orleans history thrown in, you know.
Yeah.
Marie Laveau is a very big part of New Orleans and New Orleans culture and history, and they had a character as her. They had a character as Papa Legba. Though I think that the people that actually practiced either laughed or kind of, like, cringed at the idea that they had him as a drug addict. But you know what? Legba was like a trickster, so he'd probably find it funny the Axeman is a real serial killer that was
Right,
there.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I really enjoyed, like,
Madame LaLaurie.
I've been to her house. It's gorgeous.
Inside?
Yes. I haven't been able to go inside.
I've been to her house as well.
inside.
Yeah.
I really want to. I know Nicolas Cage used to own it.
He, I think,
Oh, wow.
still does.
No, it's some, like,
Nice.
oil
Is it-
tycoon now,
yeah.
and I need to, like, find out who he is and become buddies with him so I can, like, Airbnb that bitch.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
but
would love that.
she's just gnarly. But I just loved, like, all the different history that they,
Me too.
like, intertwined into that series too. It was really cool. And then again, like, they had the human voodoo doll. When you look at her book, she actually had authentic veves that were those symbols in there. Those are all real symbols. So they did very loosely. They did their research, which was
Nice.
kind of exciting to see those real things. in
That
there.
is a plus when you're trying to see stuff like that. You're like, it's a little realistic.
Yeah, it's nice to have that, even if it goes into a weird fictional place. Like, there's some origins of truth in there, like that made
So
me
it does
happy.
tie in together, though.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. I definitely was a fan.
Nice.
Yeah,
Belle, favorite witch?
Favorite witch?
Witches?
Which
What's your
Oh
favorite?
God. Honestly, I mean, this is gonna be totally out of it, but I love the Witches of Eastwick and Cher and Susan Sarandon and Michelle Pfeiffer. I thought they were great witches. And I really wish that movie focused more on the witch aspect and not just sporadically kind of throughout the movie. Like, wish there was more of it, but I love them. I love those girls. And The Craft, of course.
Yes.
I love The Craft.
So you know that the Craft actually hired a real witch to come in as a consultant,
Yes.
right?
I thought Feruza kind of was into
She
it.
actually, yeah, so she actually bought, after that, she got so into it, she bought Panpipes, which is in Hollywood. It's LA's oldest witch store.
Oh.
So she actually bought that for a while.
Is it,
so
is
she
it
was the
still
owner.
open?
She doesn't own anymore, but I
But
know
it's
the
open.
owner, who is absolutely darling and amazing, and I love her to death. So it's still open, and you guys should totally check them out. They're actually my sponsor for my burlesque show, Belle Book and
nice.
Candle.
Field trip.
Yeah, so she comes to everyone. It's like her witches' night out. So she comes and watches a bunch of witches get naked every month. But she owns it, so it's still around. But yeah, Feruza actually bought it after The Craft, and then I don't know if she sold it directly to my friend, but it ended up in her hands. So but it's still around. So she got so into it. She owned Los Angeles' oldest pagan shop.
And what do you think about The Craft?
Ooh,
Don't make me get out of my house.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, like, teenage me loved it,
Of
and
course.
now you know what I think it is because I see like the angsty, like, I wish I was the witch people coming in and little
Us.
schoolgirl skirts and stuff like that. And they I think it was loosely based off of witchcraft and stuff like that. They did have a consultant, and so once people hear that, they're like, "This is witchcraft," and then when they realize it's not, they get angry.
But you have to realize it's also Hollywood.
Exactly. People need to remember that. So Hollywood portrays everything super different.
But it's not
just
their fault that
embellished.
dumbass people believe it.
But I can't blame them. Okay. Hey, it works. People come in and to my store and they ask for weird things and think that they're gonna conjure all sorts of weird shit. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
I mean, it gives
Here's their sound.
I'm like, all right, that's cool.
I saw Practical Magic.
No,
I want to be Sandra Bullock.
Oh.
You have a starter skit?
You know what?
Nicole Kidman's a rebel, though. I'll be
Oh, yeah.
I was always Nicole Kidman.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
She's a badass. I love it.
Bitch. We share a birthday for a reason. George, favorite
FYI.
witches?
For favorite witches, Crafts was always my favorite, just because. But I don't consider that I mean, it's horror-esque. It's more pop culture for me, just because it was in the '90s era, and that's why I liked it. I mean, it may have been somewhat,
We consider it a
fabricated.
horror. People die.
Yeah, that's true. Because I had a great experience watching that movie at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery.
Tell us.
Because everyone was had their, some people had their seances out, their candles and everything, and it was a great experience to watch that in a cemetery. At the end, you know how they have people from the movie come out. So, not Feruza, but Nev Campbell came out,
Wow,
Robin
come
Tinney,
on.
and
That's
Rachel True,
good.
the director. That was a great experience.
That would have been really cool.
I know.
dead.
I don't know why Feruza wasn't there, but it was just great to see. It's a big fan base, and to me that movie is more pop culture.
Yeah.
But in terms of witches, the one thing I can always think of was The Witches with Angelica Houston. Because
As a kid, that was scary.
exactly, because the makeup too.
Is
Makeup
that
was
the Robert Dahl?
Roll
Yeah.
down.
Roald Dahl.
There you go,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, I remember reading the book as a child, and it scared the living shit out of me because I thought I was going to be turned into a mouse.
Have you seen the movie?
I think so. I remember, but I was young, so it's I know that I've watched it,
Yeah.
but I don't remember it.
You
But I
have to
remember the
revisit
book
it.
because it emotionally scarred me.
Yeah. The movie's cheap on Amazon.
Yeah,
sure,
no,
'cause it's
the
just
makeup in that
scary.
movie is crazy.
The makeup is great. It's not so much that I consider as a witch. Her
As a human.
as a human is beautiful and striking and scary. Just because it's she has that bitch stare. I don't know what
She's
it
the
is. It's not so much
grand witch.
Morticia.
She's the
She's
grand
supreme.
witch.
She's the grand high witch, and to me, I like her better in this role than Morticia. I don't know why. I just do. It's
I have a question. Very important question. Is Morticia a witch?
I don't think so. I think she has that aesthetic.
She has that, but she says that
her grandma.
The grandma's the witch.
grandma's the
But
witch.
that's her mom. But she says there's a line where she's like she would like to continue to pursue the dark forces and blah blah blah.
Well, I think it's in her family.
I think it's in her blood.
She just has that aesthetic of it. I don't think she practices.
Do we not consider her a witch though?
I never
Should
did.
I scratch her?
I consider her a lady of horror.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's how I see her. I never consider her as a witch.
She's not one entity. She's many.
Ooh,
yeah.
Okay, I can't name it. Go continue.
But I'm just saying, like, Angelica Houston was just, that's my vision of a witch of high power.
Yes.
Just because it's like, she was beautiful, young, she was probably 3,000 years old, but she was just like fierce.
Regal.
Fierce is the word that I when I think of Angelica Houston in that movie.
Newsflash, real witches get wrinkles, dude. Like, I'm kidding, I'm right.
Is the stress of other
maybe,
people.
Maybe she had the illusionary, but like we all saw that beauty is just, to me, and that was scary. Just like, you're gonna get turned into a mouse.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then when they all just rotted in the end with the poison, like, it was,
Those
pretty
glowy
cool.
eyes too.
It was pretty cool.
Those eyes when they look at you.
Was it 90 something, that movie?
Early 90s. I think it was 1990.
The makeup for that movie was fucking insane.
Yeah.
For the time, I'm
For
sorry.
the time? Oh, no, it's beautiful makeup.
Yeah.
What about you, Eddie?
Eddie.
Movie-wise, I'm gonna go with the crafts because it's my favorite. I don't care.
But tell us why.
Why? Because I feel like the girls were selfish, and when they mess with things that they shouldn't have, there's consequences. And I think that's one thing most people need to remember. Don't mess with things you're not familiar with. If you don't have practice with it, don't mess with it. And if you do, there's consequences and things that come back at you. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just a life lesson in general.
Wait, does things really come?
Fuck yeah, they do.
Times 3?
Times 3.
Ah, cool.
Rule of 3. Rule of 3.
That's why a lot of like witches stuff, they want to put out positive and good energy out.
Nice.
You know what? But yeah, when people like ask me like about curses and stuff like that, I'm like, listen,
I don't do that shit.
No, because if I'm really
shit.
that tempted to curse you, I would much rather just punch you in the face. It's immediate satisfaction. I'm okay with that.
Nothing comes back times 3.
Exactly.
Doing it, not wishing for it.
Yeah.
You're just doing it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like doing that, yeah, it really does. It comes back times 3, and you open that door for that kind of stuff to happen. You therefore make it yourself susceptible for it. And it's just like, I always like have to step back and ask myself, and I tell people, step back, ask yourself, is that worth it? Is whatever your situation, is it really worth it to open up yourself and open that can of worms? Like, it's really not. Never once have I found a situation so far, but I've been like, yeah, that's justified. I'm going to do that. Like, no.
But that's what I like about it. It's not just your actions have consequences, your thoughts, the things you wish for, that just any energy, any thoughts, vibes, auras, things like that. Things like that is going to come back at you, and there's a consequence for it. So that's why I relate to that movie the most in terms of witches. And so that's just for me.
Yeah, the
And
rule of witchcraft is some of the rules. There's a lot of them. Is mind your thoughts and keep your words in good order and keep your thoughts in good order.
Yeah,
and that's why.
Yeah, and that's why I gravitate more towards that, things like that. Because just like when I see witches, most of them portrayed as like evil entities, blah blah blah. But then the craft, I like that there's good ones, there's bad ones, and this is what happens when you do good and you put the energy out, and the invoking spirits, and there's different ones. There's a bad invoking spirits and taking it to a dark place, and invoking a spirit and taking it into a good positive energy where it rebuilds you. Like Sarah at the end, she evokes her mother's spirit, and it gives her confidence to face her battle with Nancy.
Yes.
So I like that, and I relate to a lot of that.
Stupid ass battle. It should have been longer.
And they're teenage girls. Leave them alone. But didn't rely on super
Yeah.
It wasn't
focus.
like Covenant or anything like that, where it just like CGI random shit, electricity power. Like it wasn't like that. So it was
bulges.
Yeah, and then I like that they use like snakes, like your fears, so to speak. They use her fear
Against
snakes against you. Yeah, and when she couldn't sleep and her thoughts and just like certain spells and that how it could manipulate you and how your mind could fuck with you and things like that. And she lost her mind in the process of that, like her parents dying, the snakes, being alone,
the airplane crash,
all that. It's all mind fuckery,
trickery.
Yeah,
well, it also has to deal with a lot with nature, like what you said about witches in nature, how the snakes and all that stuff played into it, and wind was played into it as well. Like at the end when she used the wind to like the tree branch to fall on top of them, like it's just always around you. It's always around you.
Yeah, that's their strength.
And then I also like that they touch a lot about like the sisterhood. If you betray one of them, they would kill her. So when she's like, we made a pact, we did the blood thing, we drink the wine. So I like that they gravitate that. Even though they're mad at her when she was potentially gonna get raped, they were still there for her.
Yeah,
and they backed
that's
her
true.
up. So that's why I feel like they're still like, we're mad at you, but we're gonna put this to the side.
Sisterhood.
You're still one of us.
Right.
Like, we fucking hate you right now, but you're still one of us, and we'll still protect you because you're a witch.
Yeah.
Would witches really kill the ones that betrayed the coven?
You know what? No one's ever betrayed mine, so I couldn't tell you.
Because they know better.
What does history tell us? Is it true?
You know what? I think that's really hard to tell because everything is so really embellished. I mean, the whole idea of joining a coven is it's like a lifetime dedication. It's not like what people think, where you just kind of like sign up and then like practice witchcraft with people once a month,
and then you go home.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a lifetime. It's a commitment. It's like a marriage.
It's a connection.
Yeah. And so, can you leave it? Yeah, but it has its own things, and that includes like vow breaking. Like, you make vows.
That's why that's why it's a pact. That's why they did it, and
it's not bullshitting around.
Yeah, like you need to know what you're getting yourself into and who you're doing it with.
I respect that.
So how does a witch break a vow? How does she just go against the coven, or what happens in the situation?
So I can't actually talk about coven stuff.
Okay.
So the whole idea behind a coven is that it's like a secret society, so to speak, that people gather and worship, because it's not like being a witch. Yeah. Being a witch was really socially acceptable up until very, very recently. I mean, tarot reading was illegal up until like the 70s or something like that. Yeah. Wow. So, like, it's not something that was there. So it was very secretive, and like witches kind of just carry that with them. Like, it's still very secretive. They kept that, and that's why like a lot of times like you see a lot of like, you go to the Botanica, you see a lot of saint candles. Don't tell me that's just good old Christianity and Catholicism. That's witchcraft. Oh. They just learned how to use the saints as correlations for other things to cover it up so that they couldn't be prosecuted by the church.
Exactly. Wow. That's really interesting.
If you think about it, Christian and Catholics, they all use candles.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly why they do it, is that they kind of like assign different spirits to different saints. That's why you use this saint for this saint for this, and then you can find spirits that do the same thing. And it's because we had to. It was a necessity, or else the church was going to come after you. So it's just like very secretive, very in hiding, and very like camouflaged.
Yeah. And sometimes they use it for like medication, or so to speak, because like my grandma, she's from Guatemala, so she used a lot of the herb and the eggs and stuff. They do a cleansing, so they grab all that negative energy or whatever's ill from you, they put in the egg, and that's where they put all that.
I love how you say herb.
That's actually very British too. Like,
is it?
Yeah, it is, and yeah, like my boss is British. She goes herbs.
I was
just
the proper
talking.
word for
herb.
I don't know the proper word. It's the
Herbalife.
It's Herbalife.
We were actually just talking about the egg cleansings, because that's totally a thing. And I was actually like really sick like 2 weeks ago, and I forced my husband to do the egg cleansing on me. The whole time he's like, I can't believe you're making me do this shit. But I like text him the instructions. I was like, do you have the glass of water? Do you have the white candle? Where's your egg? But it worked though. Yeah. Even him, who was like trying to roll his eyes at me the whole time, I woke up feeling so much better the next day.
It feels so healing. It's like my grandma, when I have a fever and I was sick for months, she would just do it for me, and then like 2 days later it was just gone. Yeah. But you can't. I think with the egg you have to like. You can't keep it. You got to get rid of it.
No,
right.
Like, now what they do, you throw it like over like in a road or something.
Yeah.
Now a lot of times what they do is they like crack it into a glass of water, and you can actually like scry it and do a reading off of it to see what was going on, and then like you're supposed to like cast it into the earth or like urban witch, like we flush it down the toilet.
Because if you just throw it, you just throw it back energy back out.
No, but the whole thing is like just to give it back to the earth, because when you give energies back to the earth, it's like the earth gets to transmute it. So it's just the same like ideas behind science of energy not being created or destroyed. With witchcraft, it's just transmuted and turned into something else.
Yeah. Interesting.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Because I don't know, does Mexicans do that too, or no?
Of course they do. Yeah.
Okay.
Every tradition does.
Yeah. I know, because I grew up in a Guatemalan household. But that's what my grandma used to do. She's like, oh, my family's like witch doctors and stuff in Guatemala, and that's what they do and things like that. They like, we use it for healing.
See, I told you, everyone has witches in their family. You know yours.
Yep.
Yeah.
You said that.
Yeah, we all have them. Something that I do whenever I feel like I'm out of it, or I'm feeling stressed or something, and I like to sit on the ground and have both like feet firmly planted, and just I'd like to give unconditional love to the universe. And then what I'll do is if there's an energy that's kind of just like blocking me, or like something that's too many thoughts, what I like to say out loud is whatever energy that I've been given, I like to cleanse it and give it back to the people who have given it to me. You know, so
That's beautiful.
In the sense that if someone has brought on negative energy towards me or just around me, and I've collected it in my aura, I'll cleanse it and then just give it back to them, so they will have a cleansing of their own.
So basically what you did is like, so we call that a return to sender. But you did it really nicely. I've never once heard anybody say that they cleansed it first. I'm like, oh, you want your bad juju? Here it is. You actually like cleansed it first, which is like super like ethical and really kind of you. That's I haven't heard that before, and it's not to say that's wrong. I think it's actually really beautiful.
Okay.
That's wow.
Hopefully I can find it in myself to not be petty and do that in the future. But yeah, so you did a very, very kind return to sender.
Okay, so there's such a thing. Okay.
To cleansing.
To cleansing.
To being petty.
Cheers.
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 But nice petty.
A sweet petty.
My favorite witch is Willow Rosenberg from
Yes.
Buffy.
Yeah, she is.
Just because of her growth. Did you ever watch Buffy?
No.
No, oh shit. Well,
She's the redheaded one, right?
Yes, she is.
Okay,
yes, yes.
alright. See, at least
But
you know what it was.
she goes, yes, you get points for that for sure. But she goes into this whole journey, her whole season, and she's from the shy girl to the confident witch, to the like mother Wicca, like high priestess kind of thing at the end. And she's just like an amazing actress. Again. And obviously the Sanderson sisters are amazing.
Yeah.
And my recent favorite is the witch from The Witch.
Yeah.
She churns babies. She slathers them all over
She kind
her.
of goes like this weird Elizabeth Bathory thing and just like bathes in it.
Did you see the churning?
I did.
That
I was
was
like
amazing.
watching. I'm like, what the hell is she doing? I'm sorry.
You know
I
why she
couldn't-
did it, right?
What?
That's
Did
to
she just turn into like body butter?
no, that's to fly. No, witches used to churn babies, and they would use the fat to and rub it on their brooms to fly. That's how they would fly.
Oh, to make like a flying ointment. Yes. Okay, so flying ointments are actually a thing, but we don't use crushed up baby
Babies
juice.
not.
We use crushed up herbs.
Got herb again. Them
But you
greens.
can use it for like astral protection, psychic
I can see
powers,
this.
different things like that. One of my friends is actually making me a flying tincture, and I cannot wait
A flying
to try it.
what?
So a tincture is like when you soak the herbs in alcohol and like extract all of it so that you can use a concentrated amount for the medicinal or whatever like purposes. So he was telling me about it. So he says that every time he makes it, just because of the recipe he has, it's always in a big batch. So he's gonna give me some, and I am super excited to try it. So basically, in my case, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it before going to sleep and see what my dreams are like.
Weird.
So I'm pretty excited.
Tell us.
I'm excited.
I'm really
That sounds
excited to see what
fun.
happens.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes dreams are trippy.
I was just gonna ask,
Yeah.
do your dreams ever get too uncontrollable or something that's just so out of the or?
Normally, I feel like I have a really good handle on being able to wake up. I think my most notable one is I was always taught by my magical mentor to never sleep with your closet door open, because closets, hallways, attics, things like they're an in-between space. And an in-between space is where magic happens, but that's also where magical creatures kind of dwell, and they're not really supposed to be in our world, you know what I mean? So I always sleep with my closet door closed and stuff like that. One night I didn't, and I was a little drunk, and I had a dream and my roommate was in it, and in my dream he comes up to me and he's like, hey, I need you to wake up now because there's been this thing walking outside of our house and it just got in, and you need to wake up now. So I woke up and I'm staring directly into my closet, and there's like this really dark silhouette, and like it has this red eyes, and I'm like, okay, I'm sleeping and this isn't real, and I'm just like still asleep, so I just need to go back to bed now. Because you can't just assume that everything is paranormal. You have to like be real, you know.
Logical.
Yeah, so I go back to sleep. I go right back into my dream. My roommate's there again. He's like, wake up and deal with this. It's still here. So I open my eyes and it's still there. And so, like, the logical part of me is like, okay, what can I do in this moment to fix this? And, like, you're always taught to never go into ritual, like, inebriated or anything like that. And so I was like, nothing. I can't do anything. I'm drunk. And so I looked at it, I was like, I'm too drunk to deal with you. You need to just go away. And it went away. It listened, because that's what spirits are supposed to fucking do. But it was a really, like, weird dream, because it was my... One thing that I've noticed about me in particular is that my spirit guides, they come to me a lot in my sleep. But if they don't come to me, like, pretending to be somebody that I know, I won't remember the dream. So, like, everyone that I remember, they're, like, pretending, like, I'm like, oh, I had a dream about you. And then I'm like, oh, wait, it wasn't really you. Like, this had this very important message for me that I just needed to remember. So that's how it kind of worked for me. So dreams are very, very telling. I think that everyone should keep a little journal.
I have a lot of tsunami dreams.
Tsunamis?
Tsunamis.
What's your stress level like when you're having these?
Not really. I have nothing to stress about. I have no debt. I don't know anybody money. Like, you know, I have nothing to stress about. So I get freaked out.
First, word association. First thing that comes to your mind. What's a tsunami mean to you?
Disaster.
Okay. Are you fearing disaster? Did a disaster happen soon after? No? Okay, we can look it up in a dream dictionary, because I have some at home. But usually, I like to play word association with people to see what that means. So what I would recommend doing that is keeping a dream journal. Before you wake up and make your coffee or do anything that you do in the morning, like you wake up first thing you do is report all of your dreams. Date, try and find the moon phase, so you can write all this stuff down in time, and you wrote it all down.
The moon phase.
Oh, just Google it.
Okay.
There's an app for that.
I'll put it in the reminder.
There you go. But just look at us, so then, like, later, like, you can go over it and, like, look at what was going on in your life, what happened soon after, whether it's in your personal life or on a global level or whatever. Like, what was this telling you? Because sometimes you need to, like, write it down so you can find a pattern.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Interesting.
Very cool.
Any questions? I have anything, because she's also a ghost hunter, you guys. So anything evil that has happened, maybe something aggressive that you can tell us.
So I mean, here's the thing: is that it's not to say that evil doesn't exist. It's just that Hollywood has made it very, very common. So it's just like you watch those TV shows and everything is a demon or a dark entity. Which actually brings me to this really interesting theory that I have, that we can, like, conjure them into existence by believing in them so much. Because you watch that show and then you're running around your house and there's a fucking demon in your, like, cupboard. And yeah, you know. And there wasn't anything there before, but if you believe it into existence, it's there. I did this private investigation once that tripped me out. Like, I've never seen anything so dark before. Like, and I'm very glad that this building has been torn down and that I will never have to go to it again. It was actually an apartment building, and I went into a 2-bedroom apartment in this building, and a mother-daughter lived there. And the daughter had lived in this apartment since she was 2 years old, and she never slept in her bedroom. And she was 21 when I met her. So can you imagine, like, a teenager forfeiting their privacy, like, and how big of a deal that really was? So they were moving because the building was condemned, and that's when I went in, and they had told me, like, their experiences of seeing things, of being touched, and different things like that. And the whole place was kind of wrecked, but it's because they were moving. And so, like, if you peeked into the mom's room, there was crosses everywhere. I mean, she took chalk and drew those things on the curtains. Like, she wasn't messing around. In the daughter's room, there wasn't any of that stuff. And in the daughter's room, there was such a heavy cockroach infestation. Like, in our recordings, like, you could hear the cockroaches, like moving around, and, like, I had, like, taken video, and, like, you could see them crawling on our feet, like, they were everywhere. But here's the thing, is anyone that's ever dealt with cockroaches knows if they're in one place, they're all over the place. They weren't anywhere else but that girl's room. I think I saw one in the kitchen. There wasn't anything in the mom's room. I saw one in the kitchen out of that whole place.
That's crazy.
And I mean, they, like, wallpapered her room. Like, it was insane. And then, like, the French doors to her closet opened. But the trippiest part was, as we were walking out, and, you know, we were talking and wrapping everything up, the mom was standing there talking to us and stuff like that. And as she was talking, you saw her hair just stand straight up. And there's no one there. I guess it could have been, like, static electricity maybe, but I mean, like, it was, like, in the summer. It was pretty mild weather. It was, like, June, like, so nothing crazy. And the second that we pulled out our cameras to take a picture of this, her hair, it didn't just drop. It was just place down.
Ooh.
I was like, there's some weird stuff in this house, and I'm not about that. I need a salt bath. I need a sage bath. I need an exorcism. Let's just be done with it.
Yeah,
Nice.
I love sage.
Why'd you turn? What happened?
I
What'd
thought
you
I
see?
saw someone walking.
It's Eric's friend.
It's a cat.
No, it looked like a person wearing jeans and socks.
Oh my god. That's amazing. Okay.
Eric's friend.
Evil witches. Yes or no?
I mean, I know some pretty shitty ones.
Like, is there a good witch and a bad witch? That's like the age-old question.
I mean, I think that's really more like ego-driven and stuff like that. Like, I have never met anyone that is out for world domination and, you know, stuff like that and wants to eat babies and virgins. But, I mean, I do know people that do dark things that I don't agree with, that are very, like, motivated in ways that I don't agree with. And so really it kind of comes down to your question of ethics. I wouldn't say that any of them are necessarily evil, but I wouldn't
kind of thing.
Yeah, and I'm just like, you're toying with some stuff that you probably shouldn't be. So but I haven't met someone that I would say was evil in that sense. Yeah.
Or taking people's voices.
Giving people legs.
But knowing that people can be very evil, why couldn't there be an evil witch? You know?
Yeah.
So what it really comes down to is your intention. That's really
yeah.
what witchcraft is all about, is your intention and what you decide to do with that. So sure, why couldn't there be evil witches? If there's evil people, why couldn't there be evil witches?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I believe so too. If there's a God, there's a devil.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because a lot of witches don't even believe in the devil.
No.
What do they believe in? Is there a counterpart, like a villain?
I mean, like, yes and no, because, like, in Wicca, for instance, and the way that I was trained is that there's a god and a goddess. But there's no devil. They don't believe in the devil, but everything has to be in balance. So normally you would think, oh, if there's a balance and there's a good, then there's a bad. But to them, the balance was between female and male. You know? So, I mean, like, some, like, yeah, I've met some that work with Satan. Or Lucifer. Lucifer is actually a Greek god. That was then that name was actually adopted for the Satan, the devil. But there's actually a Greek god named Lucifer that is not the devil or Satan or any of that stuff. So I mean, like, there's all these different technicalities. It's hard to keep up. It's like a soap opera. Okay?
I can
There's
talk
so
to
many
you
different
forever.
like pantheons
And like
and stuff like
pentagons,
that.
things I heard about the pentagons, and there's like a
Pentagram.
pentagram. Sorry, and the eye, something about
The evil eye?
yeah.
Yeah. So that's like Greek, Italians use the evil eye.
Bulgarians do too.
There you go.
Yeah.
See it like in different, so but that's like protection though.
Yeah.
See, it's funny because it's called the evil. Like I think like it's very misleading because it's called the evil eye.
But
you
it's
can
not
have
evil.
you can have the evil eye put on you, but then someone uses the evil eye to get it off of you. I'm like, so
Yeah.
shouldn't it be like the
That's why I'm
Manuccio?
like, get it.
That's an
Straighten out.
Italian thing.
Yeah. What was it? Was it Ronnie James Dio that did that, and that's when the metal thing happened?
I think so. Yeah. Well, and Dio is Italian for God. Which is why, like, the Westboro Baptist Church decided to, like, pick at his funeral
Interesting.
and
That
all
makes more
that stuff.
sense.
Yeah, so Dio is God. Yeah, so there's the Manuccio.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's like,
And let's see. I remember, like, at my apartment, I seen a face on my roommate's door, and it freaked me out. It was like I saw, like, because I just walked out of my room and I looked straight ahead, and I saw like a face with horns on it, and I just froze. And I remember just being, like, I couldn't move. I just stood still, and I stared at it, and I just started crying. And I ran into my room, texted my ex-boyfriend at the time, and then I just didn't get it out of my room. And then when I went back, it was gone.
Witching.
So you're seeing a spirit.
Yeah.
The spirit came was looking at you.
Yeah, and I didn't know what to think of it. I was just like, I saw something staring at me, and I ran out.
You know what? Like, the one thing that I always tell, like, all my paranormal people that I'm talking to about their encounters with spirits is, like, for the most part, like, on average, spirits have to listen to you because we're spirits too, but we have bodies, therefore we're more powerful. So if you tell a spirit to leave, just like I was telling you guys about my drunk closet story, I was like, you need to go. Like, I can't deal with you right now. It listened.
Yeah.
So if you just say it with confidence, like, they have to listen.
Just don't give into it.
Yeah, but it's just like, imagine talking to an animal. Like, if you're telling your dog to sit, you're not gonna, like, ask really sweetly and nicely. You're gonna be like, sit. You're gonna have that confidence and that command. So if you do that with spirits, a lot of times that works too.
Okay.
You know, so you just gotta kind of think about those same things.
Yeah, because I usually either I see I see a lot of shapes and everything. Even in the shower, I see a body. I see different forms.
That's
of
called
things.
scrying, like doing it with like the clouds, kind of, you know how everyone makes
Yeah.
shapes out of clouds. So you should look up
Doing
those
it.
shapes Because those shapes all have meanings.
I take pictures of them sometimes.
That's awesome.
So when I'm in the shower, I get out my phone and I try to get an angle and I get the shape of it. Sometimes I feel like drawing it out.
Yeah, you should. And then you should look up the meaning and
Yeah,
develop the meaning for that.
I had a drawing of a girl. She had a cape and there was a drip of water dripping down the leg part and it just drips all the way down like that.
That's cool.
So it sounds, I don't know if that means anything. Like, it was just weird because, no, but like, it just meant like, it was like a drip from the leg going down. So like, I don't know if that means like blood or something.
Ooh.
I would just kind of look more at like the girl and like who was like the female like influence in your life and what was going on because it might have been talking about her.
Yeah.
Is there any misconceptions about ghost hunting? Like this
About ghost hunting?
ABP does really exist?
Yes, EVPs, they tell electronic voice phenomena. Yeah, I think the biggest misconception with ghost hunting, outside of the fact that people think that there's a demon around every corner, is that people think it's actually like entertaining. It's a lot like fishing.
Mm-hmm.
You can sit there and get a ton of bites and all this stuff. You can sit there for hours and get nothing. And then it's not just like the investigation of sitting there getting nothing. It's also then all of the analysis and going over your evidence. So it's just
hours of work.
It's just so much. It's so much work and it's so much boring work. And you can't even like talk while you're doing it. It has to be dead silent. And you just have to. So it's a lot of work. It's not very. It has its moments where it's thrill seeking. I'm not saying it's not for thrill seekers. It's just it requires a lot of patience.
What places have been the most thrilling?
Linda Vista was really cool.
What is that?
Linda Vista Hospital was in Boyle Heights. It has since been like remodeled and torn down, and now it's actually an old folks home. Wow. Which is super screwed up. So if any of you guys listening send your grandparents there, you guys are fucked up, okay?
Stay away from Boyle Heights.
There's so much there. I know that it was like a railroad hospital for railroad employees and all these different things. But I mean, like, when I went, the hospital had already been closed down for a while. And I mean, I walked in and there was like chart papers from like the patient's charts on the floor. There was like abandoned equipment, like all this stuff. It was just so disrespectful. Yeah. I'm like, there's just no respect. Like, no wonder like this place is haunted, you know? But when I was there, I was in one of the hallways and like, I'm really afraid of the dark. I am really afraid of the dark. So I was waiting with my little flashlight at the end of one of the halls, waiting for one of my teammates to come out so that we can walk back together. And there was a gurney in the corner, and it started rolling by itself. And there was no breeze, there was nothing, no wind, nothing going on that could have done that, and it just started rolling down the hallway by itself. I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's not terrifying at all. Wow. And then there was a room that they had there with, like, all the files for the deceased patients. Mm-hmm. And they actually just, like, left it, like, all the files there and stuff. I don't know why that's surprising me. They left people's ashes there, too. But I took a bunch of pictures, and this was on my old phone. And so I think I might maybe have one of the pictures on my hard drive somewhere. But there was, like, a bookshelf that, like, came into the middle of the room, so kind of like imagine like a library, and I took a picture and there's a shaft of light from the bookshelf going down onto the floor, and it landed on this piece of paper, and it really bugs me because I didn't see the picture until the next day, so I'll never know what that piece of paper said. That really bothers me.
I went to one abandoned hospital, I think it's in downtown, and they had an art gallery there. Oh, and cool. It was like 3 or 4 floors. The top floor was a psychiatric ward. And then when I went in there, I had no problem there, but I went into one room and the hairs on my arms just like rizzed. And I was just like, I don't think it wants me here. Like, I don't know. Like, I just stepped back. Like, I can't be in that room. So I stepped back.
That's so funny.
So I was like, and then I had ish there, and then the surgical rooms. So it's wide open, and as soon as I stood under the lights, again, my arms just went like that again. And I was like, oh, I'm going to step out of this light and go somewhere else. So, like... So,
that's so trippy.
Yeah, and I told my friend that. I was like, I can't go... He's like, let's go in there. I'm like, no, we're not going to go there. Like, my arms didn't like it in there.
Pussy.
But I know sometimes it doesn't mean bad. Sometimes they just...
like, let you know that they're there.
They're there.
Yeah, they're there.
I'm just passing by.
Yep, exactly.
Or, hey, if not, like, yeah, because sometimes, I think if spirits try to connect you, they just want to be noticed. Or they just want to communicate in some way. It doesn't mean bad, negative, anything like that.
I was just saying hello.
Just saying
hi.
Hello, Georgie.
Anything else, guys? Questions for our resident witch?
No questions. I think you covered everything.
Oh,
to be honest.
yeah,
you're amazing.
Thank you, guys.
So thank
What was the shop that you work at here in LA? What was the
So
North
yeah,
Hollywood?
more time.
I work at the Green Man store in North Hollywood, so you can find me there. I do readings Tuesdays and then Thursdays through Saturdays, and you can always check. I'm always doing different workshops and stuff like that. And then you can also catch me at my burlesque show on the third Wednesday of every month. We're Bell Book and Candle.
We're going in May, right? It was May.
Yes, and I'm going to actually have the pleasure of murdering one of you guys on stage. So I'm very excited.
Yeah,
you guys are going to just have to wait and see which one it is. Maybe you guys will have to come into the show and find out.
Yes, we are going to come to the show. Oh, those guys.
Yes, those guys. The listener guys.
You gave your Instagram again?
So my Instagram is Intuitive Shauna, SHANA. And so you guys can go ahead and find me there. I'm on Twitter under the same handle, and you can find me on Facebook, Shauna Leilani.
Yes.
Shauna Leilani,
All right, guys. Anything else? We good?
I think that's it.
Covered everything.
All right.
We're good.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye,
Really? Let me do it.